The T20 World Cup 2026 group stage just wrapped up, and the data is insane. India smashed 46s, but who dominated the death overs? Which team couldn't buy a boundary? And the bowling numbers, they are going to shock you. I'm breaking down every stat from the group stage, so stick around because by the end, you'll know exactly which teams are going deep in this tournament. Let's dive in. Here's what we are covering: the firepower test, who's hitting the most sixes, the 4 run engine, placement versus power, boundary domination, dot balls pressure, bowling under fire, and we'll reveal the ultimate rankings at the end. 11 sections of pure data. Let's start with the big hits, the firepower test. Who hit the most sixes? India was the team that hit the most sixes with 40. England and West Indies are second and third. Canada, Oman, and Zimbabwe with the least sixes with 15, 9, and 8 respectively. But now let's dig deeper. Let's go into the phases. In the power play, India again dominated, but this time we see Ireland at the second position. That means that they came in swinging. And the interesting part is that the third last team is West Indies. Yes, West Indies, the one that was at one of the top teams in the overall rankings. But if we go to the middle overs, West Indies have scored 22 sixes. Yes, that is astonishing and very high as compared to the other teams in the tournament. Sri Lanka with the least amount of sixes with 2, Zimbabwe with 3 sixes, Oman with 4. And in the death overs, India, England, and Sri Lanka were the best: 16, 15, and 13 sixes respectively. Australia, New Zealand, and Oman had the least number of sixes in the death overs. Now let's look at players who hit the most sixes. Isan Kisson, Sahibzada Farhan, Salman Hetmer, Meneti, and Will Jacks were the players that hit the most sixes. In the power play, it was Isan Kisson leading the charge, along with Meneti. Sahibzada Farhan is also there. In the middle overs, it was Salman Hetmer who was hitting it over defense. Glenn Phillips is in there, Brandon King is there. And then, as a finisher, Will Jacks has been extraordinary. You can see some Dubey as well, Sanaka as well. Now we'll take a look at players who hit the least sixes. As you can see, Bennett failed to clear the ropes. He had faced 144 balls, but he hasn't hit a single six. That's unbelievable. And if we talk about who couldn't capitalize early in the power play, again we see Bennett, Josh Butler, Brandon King. These are big names that failed to hit a six. In the middle overs, we see these players that have failed to hit or cross the boundary, and it is consisting of Roston Chase. In the finishing department, we can see Jane Green facing 29 balls without scoring a single six. Now we go to section 2, the 4 run engine. Let's take a look at the teams. Which team pierced the caps consistently? It was Sri Lanka with 76 fours, India with 63, and New Zealand with 61. In the power play, it was Sri Lanka who was at the top with 34, Australia with 33, and South Africa with 30. And in the middle overs, it was Pakistan who hit the most sixes with 22. Scotland also a surprise package with 22, and Zimbabwe with 21. And in the death overs, again Sri Lanka at the top, so they are good at scoring fours, with India in second and Nepal at third. South Africa with very few fours. Let's take a look at the players with the most fours. It was Ethan Markram, who was the top four getter in this tournament. You can see some big names in there with Brian Bennett and Saibzada Farhan. And in the early stages, we can see that Munshi, Travis Head, and Ethan Markram hit the fours, pierced the caps. In the middle overs, it was Manetti, Suryakumar Yadav who controlled the middle overs with the help of fours, and at the death, it was Sim Dubey blistering across. Suryakumar Yadav again in the death overs as well. So overall, it was a good uh, middle over and death over spell for Surya and Dubey. Which battles failed to rotate via placement? As you can see, the least number of fours were by Truppelman and who struggled against attacking fields early. So in the power play, you can see players, and the big name is Dipendra Singh Eri and Babar Azam. And in the mid phase, you can see Jane Green not able to hit the four. And in the finishing overs, it was Marcus Stoinis who took 20 balls but couldn't score a single four. Now let's take a look at boundary domination. Teams' total boundaries. 103 boundaries for India, and Australia with the most boundaries in the power play with 42. West Indies with the most boundaries in the middle overs with 39. And in the last overs, it was India with 35, tying with Sri Lanka. Who are the players with the most boundaries? Saif Farhan, Isar Kishan, Ethan Markram, Nisanka, who dominated the field restrictions. Again, familiar names. The only one new is Mitchell Mars. In the middle overs, you see Manetti, Hetmer, Munsi, Saif Farhan. And in the death overs, Will Jacks. Will Jacks was a complete performer in the death overs for England. Sim Dubey, Dipendra Singh Eri. Now we go to players with least boundaries. And you see Zane Green in there, Trumpelman in there. And if we look at specifically the power play, it was Babar Azam. Then in the middle overs, it was Rinku Singh who couldn't score a four. And in the death overs, you see Mohammad Nawaz in there. Now let's take a look at the dot balls faced. Now here is an interesting part where 202 dot balls were faced by Oman. That is unbelievable. 2,760 total dot balls. If you look at the power play, it was Pakistan who had an unbelievable amount of dots with 75 dot balls. In the middle overs, it was India who struggled to rotate the strike. And then in the death overs, again India and Pakistan looked a bit weak as compared to the other nations. Now, who are the top rotators? It was David Miller, Clint Phillips, Ryan Rickleton, Sikandar Raza. Then here we can see Josh Inglis, Ryan Rickleton. And then in mid innings, we can see Brandon King in there. And then David Miller in the final overs. Players with the most dots faced. And that is a big list. Saib Sata Farhan is in that list. That is interesting. Brian Bennett is in that list. Who struggled to initiate scoring? Brandon King, Dipendra Singh Eri. Who lost tempo into mid innings? Suryakumar Yadav with 26, the most dots faced by a batsman in this World Cup in the middle overs. And Sahin Afridi expected being a bowler and asked to consolidate the innings. Will Jacks with 10 balls faced as well. Now bowling under fires, which teams conceded the most sixes? And it was Namibia. England also conceded a lot of sixes. That is not good. If we talk about it in face by face manner, England here one of the top teams, but somehow they have conceded 48. So that will be interesting where they have actually conceded. In the middle overs, you can see that England have conceded 17. That is the second worst in the whole tournament. And then at the 10th, again 16 uh, sixes conceded by England. That is not good. South Africa there with zero sixes conceded. That is an unbelievable record. Players most sixes conceded. It was Netravalkar, Arthur Rosit who were conceding the most amount of sixes. You can see Netravalkar here as well in the power play, conceding 6 sixes. Then in the middle overs, are the Rashid being taken apart by the batters. Then at the death, it was Jofra Archer. No doubts, England have conceded the most amount of sixes, considering Adil Rashid and Jofra Archer on this list. Players least sixes conceded. You can see Matisa Patirana there, Glenn Maxwell, and in the early overs in power play, you can see Salman Ali Agha, the Pakistan captain, Glenn Maxwell, Brian Bennett, and then at the death, it is Arshdeep Singh and Sim Dubey. Let's take a look at the fours conceded. Teams four conceded. It is Oman, England, Pakistan with the most fours conceded. And in the power play, India one of the best teams, and Oman, Nepal, Sri Lanka one of the worst. Middle overs, England, Pakistan, Australia not good enough. Then at the death, again now India at the bottom end here, and Nepal with the least. Players most fours conceded, Theeksana, Jofra Archer, Rabada in there, Samar Joseph in there, some very big names. Then in power play, you have Theeksana, Jofra Archer, Nekiti, Trumpelman. Then in the middle overs, we have Adam Sampa, we have Samar Joseph, we have Abrar Ahmed. And then in the 10th overs, we have again Samar Joseph, Netra Walker. Players least force conceded, we have Mitch Santner, Austin Chase, Sikandar Rasa, only 2 dots conceded. That is unbelievable. Then in the power play, this one Chakravarti, not even a single four conceded. That's unbelievable. Mohammad Siraj is there. Then in middle overs, we have Jason Holder. And in the death overs, Adil Rashid. That is really good. We also have the Painter Singh Eri and Mandevo from Netherlands. Total boundaries conceded for each of the teams. In the full phase, we have England conceding 97. That is a bit unbelievable. Then in power play, we have England going up, but Pakistan and Sri Lanka going clearly down. Then in the middle overs, England again conceding 42 total boundaries. And in the death, we have seen Namibia, Italy, Oman, Netherlands conceding a lot of boundaries. Most fours and sixes conceded by players, Jofra Archer overall. Then in the power play, again the use of targets, Theeksana and Jofra Archer. In the middle overs, we see Adil Rashid. And in the dead overs, we see Netra Walker and Sain Afridi joining him in the list. Least fours and sixes conceded with Santner, Austin Chase. In the power play, we see Varun Chakravarti, Salman Ali Agha. In the middle over, we see Sikandar Raza and Cameron Green. And in the death overs, we see Marco Jansen with the ball. Now let's go to dot balls ball. In terms of teams, India have consistently bowled dot balls. In the power play, it is West Indies, England, and India who were the best. In the middle overs, again India at the top. So they have really gotten a lot of dots from the batters. And then in the death overs, it was Sri Lanka. 50 dots is really a big thing to achieve. And in terms of players, we have Jofra Archer, Theeksana with the most dots, Samar Joseph. If you look, there is a pattern. The players that have conceded the most sixes and fours are the players that have conceded the most dots as well. And same goes for batters as well. You saw Saib Sadafaran, who was topping the charts in sixes, fours, but at the same time was conceding the most dot balls. And then in the power play, we have again Theeksana, Jofra Archer, Sumar Bali. Then in middle overs, we have Aksar Patel, Mohammad Nawaz. And then in the death overs, we have Theeksana, Sam Kieran, Corbin Bose, Usman Tariq, Jamie Overton. Some big names in there. These dot balls, we have Will Jacks. And then in the Power play, we have Sikandar Raza, just two dot balls. Deadpreet Singh Bajwa with one. Then in the middle overs, we have Washington Sundar with just one dot ball. Then in the death overs, we have Van de Merv and Jacob Duffy with one dot ball. Now we'll take a look at smart versus aggressive. Team's batting efficiency. So this is a plot of the batting average versus batting strike rate. You can see New Zealand at the top there, batting average that is above 50 and the batting strike rate that is above 160. That is great. Same goes for South Africa, very good. And then Zimbabwe having a higher batting average but a lower strike rate. Then you see Sri Lanka, West Indies having another good average. Then India, England being a bit on the higher strike rate side but lower on average. If you talk about power play, Australia, New Zealand, India were playing differently. Sri Lanka with the highest average. In the middle overs, West Indies was the team to beat. We took a look at it when we were taking a look at the sixes as well. They were completely dominant. And then in the death overs, India are going havoc. Zimbabwe are maintaining their great average, and West Indies have balanced the both. England also looking good in terms of the strike rate. And if we go about batting efficiency, here you can see the players: Isan Kissan with one of the best strike rates in the tournament, Brian Bennett with one of the best averages, Sirfin Ford, Mitch Mars, and Will Jacks, one of the best players if we talk about balance. Then in terms of power play, Ethan Markram with the highest average, and Rickleton with the highest strike rate. Then in the middle overs, again is Kissan dominant. Then you can see Saib Sadaf Farhan, Salman Hetmer, and Brian Bennett as one of the key figures. Then in the death overs, we see AD coming into action, Sim Dubey, Rutherford, Will Jacks, and Tucker Dockred going all the way with it. Then in terms of bowling, we'll have average and strike rate. You can see India at the bottom there doing really well with the average and the economy as well. Oman consistently leaking runs. And in the power play, it was Zimbabwe and West Indies that were really good. England also doing good here. And then in the middle overs, we can see India, USA, Zimbabwe putting pressure on the batters. And the death overs, we have Oman as a quite a big outlier as they give an average of 60. That is like really bad with an economy of 70. They have been completely hit all around the park. India, Sri Lanka, South Africa, Pakistan are the top four teams. Then if we look at the players, you can see Will Jacks has had a high economy, and Usman Tariq, one of the best bowlers, along with Varun Chakraborty, and Trumpelman giving an average of 80. That is not good. That's an economy of almost 10. Then we see Marco Johnson, Marco Jaudedra, Will Jacks not playing well. Aga Salman, one of the best bowlers, along with Jamie Overton, Hardik Pandya. Then in terms of mid innings, Sam Ayub has been really good, and Will Jacks has been really bad. That has been the consistent scheme of things here. Delaney also playing good, Maxwell very good. That match against Oman really helped him in terms of this middle over average versus strike rate. Then we see Kami with an average of 4 and an economy that is really and the average that is really good. And then we see Velage Dubey with good averages and economies. Now we go to the ultimate rankings. Bowling average. We have Canada with the highest bowling average and India, West Indies, and Zimbabwe with the least. In the power play, Zimbabwe takes the top spot along with West Indies and South Africa. And in the middle overs, we see India being one of the best, along with Pakistan, USA, and West Indies. Then at the 10th, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, West Indies, India, the top four. In terms of batting average, New Zealand comfortably at the top, along with Zimbabwe 49. That is also great. And South Africa 44. In the power play, that jumps up to 69 and 65 for South Africa and Zimbabwe. That is 20 more than the others. And then in the middle, New Zealand were completely dominant, 138. Canada, the only team, I think the only metric in which they are one of the top teams. India really bad in this with 26. And then at the death, South Africa with 88. That is like far away, far better than any other team. In bowling strike rate, we have Zimbabwe as the best, along with West Indies, India, Pakistan. And power play, we have Zimbabwe, South Africa, England. Then in middle overs, India, Sri Lanka, West Indies. And then in the 10th overs, Pakistan takes the top spot. Canada really bad with 67. In terms of economy, India with the top economy along with Zimbabwe and West Indies. Again, the same pattern continues for the power play. In the middle overs, similar pattern in Pakistan overtakes India. And in the 10th overs, again the same, but Sri Lanka at the top. With that, we go to batting strike rate. New Zealand dominant, South Africa dominant, Sri Lanka dominant, and India dominant. In the power play, South Africa and New Zealand just go away with it along with Australia. India at fourth. And then in the middle overs, you can see that India have really dropped down with a strike rate of 115. Pakistan also struggling with 117. At the top, we have New Zealand, West Indies, Scotland. And in the 10th, India bounced back, South Africa at the top along with Sri Lanka. Thank you for watching this video. I'll meet you in the next one. If you like this video, I'm sure that you will like this one as well. So please take a look at it.